What is good? I mean, what is really good, my people? It is your UK Trotter brother, Dr. Blick, the darkest man around, and I got a slightly different video for you guys. And this video, it kind of caught me by surprise that I got the opportunity to do this. But I'm here with a guy that works at OnePiece.com. So, with no introduction, okay, just introduce yourself, man.
Sure. My name's Greg. My main job is being an English teacher at elementary schools in Japan. And my other job is I secretly hunt criminals at night masked as a Batman. No, I do write for OnePiece.com, the official website. And interestingly enough, if you go to OnePiece.com, it's, I think, like a Finnish hoodie website or something. But the official comic OnePiece.com is one-piece.com. And I do bi-weekly, I guess that's the term, right? Every other week, I do a column on the kind of hidden secrets or potential foreshadowing in chapters of One Piece. And I also do write columns, unfortunately in Japanese only, for the cousin magazine to Shonen Jump, V-Jump. And that's what I do.
Yeah, that's a dope job to have, like working on a series that you enjoy. That's a dope job to have. So, the first question I'm gonna ask you is, how did you get into One Piece? Like, what made you hooked to One Piece?
Sure. I guess the hook, if you're asking specifically about that, is definitely the Arlong saga. And I know this is the same for a lot of people. They're like, I love the Arlong story, and that's great. There's nothing negative about that. That's how I got into it. But I guess the one little twist about mine is I regret I probably would have gotten into it earlier, but not for the translations I was reading at the time. I now read One Piece in Japanese, and at the time I was almost there. I had decent Japanese ability, but I wasn't there just yet. And I couldn't get through. I couldn't make sense of the stories yet. So I used an online resource, and it was a very kind lady from Thailand who made the translations, not scanlations, mind you, but they were translations, text translations that I would read alongside the comic book. And bless her heart, she helped me get into the series, but her English was just off a little bit, and it was difficult to read. So I muddled through it, but it was like reading, I guess you could equate it to quote-unquote English sentences in Japanese, like, let's enjoying, or something like that, right? So that was kind of how I was reading the series from the start, all the way up to around the end of Dawn Creek, which, interestingly enough, is right, at the start of the Arlong arc. So if I'd been reading, official translators, Stephen quality translations from the beginning, I might have gotten into it a bit earlier. But it stands that Nami's background story was the very first time that I was reading a comic, not watching an anime or hearing something, having an audio-visual connection. And I was reading a comic that was black and white, and I totally cried. I totally, man cried at the death of Nami's mother, Belmir, and then when Luffy gives his hat to Nami and says, of course we're friends. That was just like, oh my gosh, this is not a normal series that can do this to a human being. So that's how I got hooked on it.
That's dope. That's actually lit. How you got into One Piece. And with the backstory of Nami, it was the real first indication that this series was gonna be different compared to other series I've seen. Seeing the way it gives you the emotion to the character, it makes you understand why Nami's doing what she's doing. I really enjoyed that part about it. And another question I would like to ask you is, how did you get working with OnePiece.com? But I know you said the story's long, but can you give us a outline of what happened?
Yeah. Let's see. Back in 2012, I think it was 12. Yeah. Back in 2012, how do I say it? I entered a kind of a television call for One Piece superfans, and what the television program wanted to do was pit superfans against the editors of One Piece. Now, at the time, we didn't know what it was going to be. Fans versus the editors, fans versus the anime fans. We didn't know what it was going to be. But we just knew that there was going to be some kind of trivia battle, or we knew it was going to be some kind of trivia battle. So as fans, we submitted kind of profiles of ourselves. There was a paper test, and went through the grueling process. And of all of the people, I was one of 3 that were chosen to appear on the program. So we appeared on the program. We battled the editors in a trivia contest. We learned some amazing things. We got them on a few questions, and they also got us good enough to beat us. And so we lost the first, I guess not round, but I guess the first battle. And it was disappointing, but I was so happy that I had come to that point, and I was able to do battle with them. I mean, especially, like I said, it's a long story, but at that time I was also kind of battling with my One Piece fandom. And it just helped me a lot. I guess get back into the series. I was kind of out of it because of personal reasons and some personal struggles. But it helped me kind of quote unquote see the light, for lack of a better term. And I got back into it, and I was like a new fan again. I had the same feeling from the first time I read that Nami arc. So, time went on, and as One Piece Film Z was starting to come around, they did another trivia contest. They did another call for it, and I had my heart set on not participating again if they didn't have, or if there wasn't anything new that I could offer, if there wasn't anything new that I found. But this whole experience was an amazing opportunity for me to go back into the series and experience it anew, and find out even more amazing things, hidden things about the series. And so when the time came when the call came again, I was like, hey, I still have some cool stuff that I could share with the editors, with the fans. So I went up for it. I auditioned again, and I was selected, and we did battle, and we won. We beat the editors, and they selected. One of the editors for that cousin magazine I mentioned, V-Jump, approached me, and he said, "Hey, would you possibly be interested, being featured in our, I guess it was like the January issue at the time?" And I was like, "Oh, cool, great, all right." And he was like, "Excellent." He was like, "We'll be in contact." So he contacted me later, and he said, "Hey, come to Tokyo, and we're going to show you an early version of Film Z." And I was like, "What?" He's like, yeah, we have a private screen, so come on to Tokyo and check it out. So I was like, words couldn't describe my euphoria. But I went to Tokyo, saw Film Z like a month before its release, and did kind of a small trivia section of it, like, hey, here are maybe some things you might be interested to notice in the movie. And thanks to that, after I finished that, they were like, hey, we really like this, so we want to make you monthly. We want to serialize your column. So that's how I started to write monthly for them, for the magazine, and that was the start of it.
That's actually dope. So another question I got for you is, how did life? Wait, were you living in Japan, or were you like in America going to Japan? Like, what was the gist? Like, did you have to move to Japan, or were you already living there? Like what was the gist of that?
For this job, you mean? For writing for One Piece?
Yeah, were you when you were doing the whole thing? Did you move out there, or I know obviously you moved out there, but were you originally living in America, and then you had to like pack your bags and move to Japan, or were you already living in Japan at that moment in time?
Yeah, I wish I could say I had to move to Japan for One Piece, because that'd be like the ultimate fandom thing, right? Like, hey, we want you to write for us full time. Come to Japan and we'll pay for your plane ticket and come live here. But no, that was not the case. I came here following my heart because I wanted to be an English teacher in Japan ever since my first visit here, and I learned that was a thing that people could do and get paid money for it. So I came here I moved here from the States just after I graduated college. And that was back in 2006. So yeah, this August it'll have been 11 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, wow. But another thing I would like to ask is, what character are you attached to the most in the series? Like, who's your favorite character, pretty much?
Wow. That's such a great question, and my students ask it all the time at school. And the answer I am forced to give them is I don't have a favorite character. I like them all so much, but I'm not going to completely wuss out of it. I have a top 3 favorite characters, and by top 3, I don't mean like number 1 is this, number 2 is this. It's literally they are top 3. They're equal in my liking of them. But going in order of how I came to appreciate them would be, first up is Zoro, and love Zoro because he's Zoro. I mean, he's great. He is the quote unquote cool guy. But he's also an idiot. He was that perfect mix. I think maybe nowadays he's a little bit too cool for his own good. But that's okay. We know he still has a heart of gold, so that's all right. But I mean, he at the time, just coming out of high school, and being a Dragon Ball super fan, I liked that kind of character. It also helped that he has a Japanese orientation, I guess. So I liked his sword fighting. I liked how unique it was. He had some of the best lines. There's that moment where he's fighting Daz Bonus in Alabasta, and he lifts the building up over his head, and you're just like, dude, buddy, you just lifted a building over your head. You are amazing. Or not a full building, only a quarter of a building, right? So,
yeah.
So that was Zoro, and I continue to like him for many of those reasons. But after I met the woman who would eventually become my wife, she got into to One Piece as well. She's not a super fan, but she enjoys reading it. She does read it with me, and we both have a good time with it. And as soon as the character Frankie came into the story, she was just like, "Oh my gosh, you're Frankie." It's like, no, I'm not. She's like, "You're totally Frankie." I guess like how emotional he gets. He'll be like, I'm a back city crime boss and I'm a tough guy, and then like he'd hear like a story of sadness, of sorrow, and he'd instantly be like crying on the floor, just a puddle of a man. And she's like, "Oh, that's totally you." And I guess his love for hamburgers and his quote unquote American style, whatever. She was just like, yeah, he's you. And I was just like, whatever at the time. I didn't really put any stock in it, but then like her friends started calling me Frankie, and then like other people started calling me like Super, and I was just like, okay, fine, I'm just going to accept this, and I accepted it, and I became a Frankie fan, and I really enjoy the character. I do connect with him on a few levels, and my part of
I'll go a quick question.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So, do your students at school go up to you and go, "Have you seen Dragon Ball Super?"
Oh yeah, no, that would be like the perfect combination, right? If they did that, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I like everything about that." But no,
they do the pose and everything.
Yeah.
But continue what you're saying.
The third one is the third one came about when I became involved with One Piece on an official level, and I had to kind of delve into it more and more, just make reams of notes about it, about the series, about the details, about how the characters are related, which I'd previously done on my website, The Grand Line. But now I was doing it on an even deeper level, not on like a fan connecting these things, but looking at how Oda is able to create these characters, and why they're interesting, why this world is, why it works so well. And when you look at the series that way, you really have to appreciate Luffy, and that's how I came to like Luffy. I mean, of course I like Luffy, but now I see him in a way that's just, I mean, the entire story of One Piece, all of these crazy characters that have been united, all of them exist because of Luffy. They wouldn't be as interesting as they are, they wouldn't be as lighthearted as they are, they wouldn't be as free as they are if it wasn't for Luffy. And the fact that Oda was able to so skillfully create a character that way, who is, I mean, let's admit it, he's a complete dumbass. But he's so lovable and believable as this character. Everyone kind of wants to be like Luffy. They want to be that person who just follows their heart, does the right thing, even if they're not thinking about whether it's the right thing or not. They do it. And you have to appreciate what Oda was able to do with his mind in order to take bits and pieces of his experiences, of people that he knows, of what he thinks is entertaining, and create this core character that links everyone. It's amazing. It's incredible when you think about what he's done. So that's why the third and final would be Luffy. So it's Zoro, Frankie, and Luffy.
Okay, that's cool. So, what is the saddest moment to you, in your personal opinion, that got you with the most feels? What is the saddest moment in One Piece to you, gave you the most feels?
That's a good question, because the go-to for me is usually the Belmere scene, where she's shot by Arlong. I mean, that's just terrible. There are many moments that get me emotional, but I think the other one that stands out as much as that would be where Jinbei basically takes Luffy and shakes the sugar out of him and says, don't count all your losses. He's like, count what you have left. And that was something that, later when I was having, a couple struggles in my own life as I changed jobs and positions, not related to One Piece, but just as I was going through a job change, a move, and just some tough things in life. It was something that I didn't realize at first. I didn't think about it, but only in retrospect, after I started to become involved with One Piece in an official level, it's something that I came back to and reread, and was just like, it hit me hard. It was just like, oh man, this is such a simple observation, but one that people really need to hold in their hearts for when there is loss in their life. And that scene, that's another scene that definitely gets me. I mean, it's a sad, but it's like a happy sad. I don't know if I'm describing that quite well, but it's just like, yeah, man, Jinbei, you definitely know what you're talking about. You've experienced the same kind of like loss and trouble in your life as Luffy, and that's literally like one bro to another, heart to heart, and I love that scene.
That scene was, that whole scene of building up into the time skip was really sad, and you see the real development that Luffy has to go throughout that whole entire scene.
Yeah.
And another question I would like to ask you is, who's your favorite One Piece villain? Like who's your favorite? This is another one where I want to be like, I like them all. But I
I have to go back to Arlong, just because what he did, I feel, was so heinous. And I mean, like, well, wait, no, this person, has slaves, and this person tried to commit genocide for no reason other than that they were kind of crazy. But I don't think, like, once you reach a One Piece villain that hits on something that's like a kind of a personal trauma or a personal goal for yourself, I don't think you can ever beat that. So it's like, I saw Belmare, right? And she dies to protect her children, who aren't really her children at all. That's the kicker, is like, they're not connected by blood, and she just had this argument with her daughter, so for all intents and purposes, she should be mad at her, but she completely drops that. She's a total, not only adult, but she's a selfless adult, and she says, these are my daughters, and I want them to live, and she dies for it. And that, to me, as a person, is the kind of parent that someday I hope to be. So when you have a villain that takes that away, that kills that kind of dedication, it's like killing a part of me, or something that I wasn't even consciously thinking that when reading it, but only in retrospect, going back and looking at that, can I feel like, ooh, maybe this is why that hit me so hard. So I really have to say that one of the most vile and just cruel villains that hit me the hardest was Arlong, because of that. And of course, there's the whole, looking down on humans kind of aspect to it as well. But I mean, interestingly enough, gets softened. That aspect of Arlong gets softened later in the Fishman Island arc, when we find out, kind of his backstory. And it's not that we're like, oh, Arlong's a good guy now. It's just that, no, he has his own story, and there are reasons why people become the way they are. Which is another, you see this, you don't see this so often in Western animations. Well, maybe nowadays you do. I think it's now the time where a lot of, former fans of anime in the 80s and 90s, where that was kind of a common theme, have now grown up and go on to create their own cartoon series, which I think carry that level of depth to them, of the gray zone, I call it. I guess I'm kind of going on a rant now, but not a rant, but I'm going off topic. But yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
I think that's my big relation to Arlong, and why I see him as my favorite / most hated villain.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I got a question, because I noticed that your 3 favorite characters were all Straw Hats. If you had to pick a favorite character that wasn't a Straw Hat, who would it be?
Are we? Can you? Well, actually, this
you
could go
count
2 ways.
movie
Could you make it more specific, or do you want it kind of open as it is right now? Like, could you be like, it can include villains, or it should be like a heroic character, or a male character, a female character?
It can be villains. It could be male, female. Anybody. Like, it's as open as it is. Like,
woo, this is a tough one. Who do I like? There's so many. Boy, you got me. Okay, who do I want to see more of? Who do I want to see again?
You can pick 3 if you need, like, just 3 characters they just like.
Yeah. I want to see. Boy, you got me. I'm trying to narrow it down to who I really want to see in the story again. But it's one of those things where you kind of like know everybody's coming back, but so that makes it tough. Boy, who do I really respect?
You could just pick a bunch of characters that you just want to see come back.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to go with, having used the Nami example this far in the Arlong arc, Belmare. I really like her.
Yeah.
Another one that I really like is Kureha. Because I like Dr. Kureha. I like her kind of Spartan mother is like a term they use in Japan. I don't know if they use it elsewhere, if Japan picked it up, but like she's got this like hardline, like she never shows who Chopper, who she considers as her son, she never shows straight up love to his face. She only shows hard love, but she has that love in her heart, and I think that's important to have as a role model, to have that kind of hard love. Whereas Hiruduk had kind of the soft love, like this quote unquote touchy feely love. He had that, and the two of them were basically Chopper's parents. And he had two very different types of love between them, and I thought it was cool that Oda was able to make a female character like her. Are you catching a theme like this? I love these mother characters. Should my third be Big Mom? Is that what I should say now? I don't know. No, just I like how Oda was like, you normally get in anime and manga like father figures, and like, oh, the father figure is so strong, and you know, oh, he treats his son like this, but like Oda's one of the first, at least in my knowledge, in shonen manga, I don't know about seinen manga, but in shonen manga, who was able to take mother figures and make them cool, like make them badass mothers. And I guess I wonder how that sounds, badass mothers. But I really respect how he was able to, again, like Luffy, create characters like that who are, I think, unique. So it's definitely those two, yeah. And a third. Who would be the third? Ooh. Should I go for the Oda answer and be like, Gaimon, I want to see Gaimon again? No. Because I'm interested in how interesting it would be to the main story, I can't say he's my favorite, but because of how interesting I think it would be in the main story, I want to see Enel again. I want to see him again. Just because, yeah, I think it would be very interesting in the main story again, what he would bring to the table. So Enel, let's say Enel. Not my favorite, but he's who I think would probably be the most interesting. So I definitely want to see him again.
Like him having haki, like, because we know he has like Montero, like, or observation haki, how some people like to call it. Mm-hmm. Well, so seeing him having armament, that'll be interesting to see him fight Luffy.
I don't think he would come in as such a villain as that, so much as he would come in like Crocodile came in again. Not necessarily an ally, but not a villain, a main villain per se. But I would, if you're an Enel fan, I would say that there's a good chance that you will see him again in the manga, in the main story.
Okay, that's cool. What I was gonna say was that with the theme of like people raising kids, I'm surprised you didn't say Dadan.
Yeah.
From like when she raised. I was surprised you didn't say her. With the female mothers, so when you didn't say her, I was like, is he gonna say the dumb? Because he's been saying like motherish type character. Because Oda has shown various different ways of like mothers bringing up kids in throughout One Piece, except Luffy's. That his mom's a mystery. He's like, most of his family's a mystery, other than like Garp and people like that.
Yeah, interesting you mention her. This is something that I guess a good number of fans know about, but maybe it's become less prominent as the years have gone by. But he did an interview with US Shonen Jump, background, not when it went digital, but I guess about 11 years ago or so, around the time I moved to Japan, I think. And he answered kind of SBS-style questions from US fans, and one of them was, so what's the deal with Luffy's mom? Like, you know, where is she? And his answer was typically coy, in the Oda fashion, but he's like, I think she's around, but she's probably not a quote unquote pretty lady. She's probably a rough around the edges kind of lady, an old, not an old timer, but like an Obahan. You know, they have like Obahan time in One Piece, and he's like, I think she'd be a woman like that. And I wonder, considering how Dadan looks and how she acts, if he melded the idea he had for Luffy's mother with Dadan, and that's the character they became. So his mother probably is still out there, well, maybe, but I have a feeling that the character he had in mind for Dadan, for his mother, became Dadan.
Huh, that's cool if that's the case. Yeah. Another question I have is, have you met Oda like before, like, because you work close to the series and you like follow like the episodes as they come out, so have you met like the man himself, like Oda?
I try not to go into it too much in like the Japanese fan following, but I have been vocal about it in the English community. But yeah, I've met Oda a few times, and he's super chill, and he will probably deny it to the day he dies, but he is 110% Luffy. Like, he's totally Luffy, and I mean that in the best of ways. He like, you once you have a conversation with him, you realize, like, oh, of course this is how he can create these characters, and how he can have his core character be the way he is, because he's Luffy. He's great.
That's actually so dope that you met the like, being a fan of One Piece, to actually be like meeting the creator of One Piece. That must have been an amazing experience to be in a position with someone like that.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Every time, still, I'm very thankful for the opportunities that I have to meet with him and discuss movies and TV and our hobbies, basically, beyond One Piece.
Do you know what the English audience fans like refer to Oda as?
Goda?
Yeah. Does Oda know about that? Like, I wonder what his reaction would be with the fact that they call him Goda.
He'd probably be very, very humble about it. He'd say, nope. He'd say that's probably people like Toriyama Akira or Tezuka Osamu. But, as fans, that's kind of our what's lucky is that we get to decide those things for ourselves. So
yeah, that's cool. So what is the most epic moment or epic fight, like either one or just give me both, like, in your opinion, in One Piece?
Another tough one. I think, I don't know if it's the most. Well, yeah, okay, all right. I guess the most, epic is the moment that we learn, and I might be confusing this. I really would have to sit down and think about this. I might be confusing it with my favorite moment in One Piece, which would be a shame if I'm doing that. But I think this is it. Is basically volume 25. Around where we find out, I think it's chapters 234 and 233. I think that's around it. Just off the cuff, but the moment that we learn that there is a bigger story to tell in the world of One Piece, those are the two chapters where we see where Buggy is. We get an update on Shanks. We see the Shichibukai Doflamingo Bartholomew Kuma, and we see the world government, the 5 stars, for the first time. And the moment that you learn that Oda is going to show us this aspect of his world, because previously, we'd heard about the world government. Oh, the world government is bad, and the Marines are bad. I don't even know if we knew much about the world government at that time at all. And the moment you read that chapter is another. It's kind of like another Arlong moment, where as Arlong, it's like, wow, he's telling an amazing story. He's telling something that I haven't kind of read before emotionally. this is where you read it and you go, structurally, whoa, he's going to show us these parts of his world, and he does have a bigger story to tell. It's not just these, scrappy youngsters going around on a pirate ship. They're going to be involved in a world-level story. And I don't think at the time we could even have anticipated that it would grow as big as it has. I don't mean in length, but I mean in scale, its relation to the world government and the history. But it is, and it has. And that moment for me will always stand out as amazing, and on a personal level, I think epic. Even though it's not like this great clash or this great battle, it was something that at the time, reading it after having been a fan for, I don't know, that was almost the first volume that I read in real time. So I'd been a fan for some time before that, and when I caught up, I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing. He has this whole world worked out, doesn't he? And that was a great moment as a fan.
That's dope. So what's your favorite fight? And this is the final question that I have for you. Like, what is your favorite One Piece fight?
Wow. No ranking here, but I really like the Foxy fight, just because of how goofy it is. I love that. It's like you get that it's a fight that Oda wanted to draw, like it's something that he really wanted to do. And then there's the Water 7 Luffy versus Usopp battle, which I thought was amazing. Because that's another thing where, like, as a fan reading this, it's like, this is impossible. How is this happening? They're friends. This can't. No, stop it, Oda. And just having the feeling that you're reading something something memorable, that you'll be there and you'll remember it for as long as you're a fan. You'll remember that moment where you are, that the sights, the smells, and to this day I can remember that. So that was another one that was impressive. But my favorite fight to this point, I hadn't given it too much thought. I mean, it's super cool when he gets Crocodile, and it's also great when he knocks Wapol out of the way. And I guess, even though I love the Bellamy One Punch, I mean, that's another great moment. I guess when he beats Eneru might be my favorite, and that might be biased because it's the first boss battle that I read to conclusion in real time. Again, I know exactly where I was. I remember when I was reading it. I picked up the Jump at Kyoto Station because I was heading to my friend's house for winter vacation in Japan when I was studying abroad. I remember the issue of Jump. I remember the cover of it. It was Bobobo, and it was like a Technicolor kind of cover. And I just remember reading it on the train and just being blown away by it. So I guess that's my favorite in total. And I mean, the whole fight is cool because Luffy just freaking pawns him the whole first time they meet, and that's so cool. Oda, I believe, said in an interview that he drew the quote-unquote cool character of Eneru the entire time because he wanted to draw that scene with the eye bulge. That eye bulge scene works because Eneru was awesome the entire time. He was so cool, this Eminem kind of dude, the entire time, and it makes that scene what it is. So yeah, I love. Yeah,
I love that scene when he's all shocked at his face. That scene is so funny, and in the anime community, a lot of people meme that face a lot.
I know. I go to it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. It's been great having you. like to come and record this video with me. It's been amazing.
Oh, a pleasure, man.
Thanks for being
Sure.
here. So guys, if you guys want to follow Greg, his Twitter will be in the description below. I highly recommend you check it out. He covers like the One Piece. He basically has his own column in the One Piece website, as you guys heard. And yeah, let me just wrap up this video. So please comment and subscribe. I know I say this all the time, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, please like, rate, and enjoy this video. And yeah, I'll catch you next one, guys. Bye.